And we're live. Happy Friday, everyone, and welcome to Scoot Fridays, episode number 17. We have the trio with us here today, myself, Chris, and Elwa. And we're really excited because we're only 5 days away from officially launching the Apollo Pro. So it's been a pretty busy couple of weeks for everyone at the office, and things are moving on really, really nicely. Hi, everyone. Hey, Austin. Nice to see you. So we have a couple of things we will go over as always, and then we will open it up to questions. So feel free to pop into the comment section and let us know what you might be wondering about, any questions in general or specifically. We'll be happy to take them and answer. But first things first, as I mentioned, we are 5 days away from the launch. So the Apollo Pro is officially launching for pre-order on July 12th at noon Eastern on Indiegogo. Now, some of you might be wondering, well, when am I actually going to get the scooter? So, Elwa, why don't you tell us what does the timeline look like for our December delivery? Why is it December? Why are we not delivering them right away? And if you could just explain what's actually going to happen between when somebody potentially pre-orders on July 12th and December, that would be great.
Yeah, so we are currently doing the beta testing. This means that we produce 150-ish unit, and we're going to be testing it through Canada and US. And the goal for this is for people to put 500 kilometers on it and to provide feedback. There's going to be feedback built in the app that we're going to ask question about the component, like please rate the suspension, the display, the throttle, the geometry of the scooter. And we hope by doing those kind of survey, coupled with in-person survey, like on telephone, in person, we're going to be able to do the final adjustment on the Pro. And when we're going to release it, it's going to be perfect. And this is why the discrepancy between the current selling time that we're doing compared to the delivery is coming from, why it's so long. Because in the past, we were just testing the prototypes ourselves, posting it on YouTube, collecting feedback about the look, and after that we were producing massive amount of scooter, and that led to a couple of issues in the past. So by doing a pre-production to really get the assembly worker up to speed and to figure out this process, but also on the hardware side to ensure that everything is working as it should, that's why we're doing it. What does it look like right now? We have the beta unit coming in Canada, I believe in 2 weeks, or maybe even a bit less than that. And the beta testing is going to start at this moment. Then we're going to have the US batch, and we give ourselves a month or two to collect all this feedback and to finally trigger the production around September, October. And that's going to basically take a month and a half to produce those quantity and ship them back here and start delivering them, which is bringing us to December.
Beautiful. Well said, Elwa. Thank you. And I see there are a couple of questions from Jerry and Big Nose Bonehead about the delivery ETAs for the US. So as Elwa just mentioned, the Canadian batch is coming first, simply as a function of the order in which they were produced, and the US shipment is estimated to leave the factory actually, I think, in 3 days, right, Elwa, if I remember correctly, July 10th. So
Exactly.
yeah, July 10th, and then it's a pretty quick ship to LA, I believe, for this one. And then from LA, it's a question of probably just a few days before it gets over to New York. So realistically, we're expecting deliveries in mid-August, possibly late August, depending on if there is a holdup at the port for any reason. But as I mentioned on the previous episode, the main reason behind this delay was the additional waterproofing that we performed for these scooters. So once again, we're not taking any chances on the beta units, although they're called beta units or early access units. They're not necessarily any different than the final production units. So it's really in the best interest of the riders as well as us at Apollo. We want to make sure that we offer the best product possible. So hopefully you accept that as a valid reason for the delay. In either case, mid to late August is the delivery timeline for the beta users in the US. Hey, Stephen, a couple of other questions from Hans here. Delivery date for the City 2022 upgrade kit. What do you know that one off the top of your head?
They would be leaving the factory around next week, I believe. So we're looking probably at 30 to 35 days of lead time.
Yeah, I think those ones are being airshipped to our distribution centers, if I remember correctly. So maybe a little bit less, hopefully.
Okay, yeah.
But yeah, I think we're kind of at the final stage now, Hans, in terms of your delivery ETA. So roughly between 2 to 4 weeks is what you're looking at.
They're
And then-
produced, and we got all the pictures, so maybe we could post it on Facebook for people to get an update of what it looks like.
Yeah, that's a good idea. They look fantastic. So really, really worthwhile upgrade. In terms of the Vancouver strike, yes, the port of Vancouver is currently on strike, so there is a possibility that if it goes on for multiple weeks, of course, everything gets delayed. That said, in our experience, there's a strike in Vancouver every single year since we started the business, and it usually happens in the summertime, unfortunately. And those strikes tend to go on for about a week, and then everything gets probably backed up for another week. And so within a 2-week period altogether, it's sort of back to normal. So we're hoping that with the delivery of our container holding the pros, everything is kind of at the tail end of that strike, and the container just comes in and then gets put on rail to come to Montreal. Yeah, so that's that for the immediate pro questions. Now, Chris, you're here as well, and you do business development. So what if somebody outside of Canada and the US wants to buy the pro? How would they go about doing that?
Yeah, so we're offering it to like select distributors as well, who we've worked with for a long time. So for those of you in Australia, it will be available as well through Electric Kicks. And their pre-order will also be going live next Wednesday when we launch Indiegogo campaign, which is really exciting as well. They'll take good care of you, and it's so nice to be able to offer it to a market where you see so many passionate riders, especially on these comments and on YouTube and everything. So that'll be at the same time. And then also in the UK with Ride and Glide. So if you're in the UK, they do ship everywhere in Europe a little bit. Might be worth just having a chat about the servicing side of it. They do have service repairs infrastructure, but it will be available in the UK with Ride and Glide as well as of next Wednesday. Pre-order opening, same delivery time, maybe a little bit more. Just a heads up, but yeah, and that's just to start off, and then we'll slowly start expanding it more and more to different countries as we go. But yeah, it's really exciting that at least we have Australia and UK as well on these.
Yeah. Absolutely. And Chris, you've also been working with a couple of affiliates and different content creators over the last few weeks, coordinating the pro deliveries in anticipation of the launch, right? So can you just share your experience of working with those individuals? What's been their first reaction to receiving the pro? Any thoughts, comments, concerns that you've gathered?
Yeah, of course. So part of launching the whole Indiegogo campaign, we're trying to get as much of an insight into the product as possible on the latest early access units. And we got the chance to send, I think, around probably 8 to 10 units to reviewers, like professional reviewers. So you're looking at the likes of Electrek, CNET. So some I'm going to keep a little bit secret just for you guys, and we'll slowly start posting the videos out. But we have some really cool reviewers doing this, and essentially the first reactions are incredible. And it's so reassuring. Again, like I don't think people are ready or understand the quality of this scooter and how good it is. Everything from the unboxing experience, the packaging, the look and feel, like it doesn't feel like a scooter anymore. It feels like really like a luxury. I don't even know what to call it. It just feels amazing. So the initial feedback has been fantastic. Everyone's blown away with the build quality, the unboxing experience, etc. I know we've been having a lot of fun with Elwha. We've been looking and we've been watching all of the diagnosis of everything, because we can see the motor temperature and the sensors and the speed people are riding at, and just watching and making sure the scooter performs well. So we've seen how some of our affiliates have been taking this off dirt roads and pushing it to the limits, which is great. And the scooter has been performing everywhere. So like it's been going on for the last 2-3 weeks, and only great feedback so far. So all the videos should be launching on Wednesday. Yeah, it's only really good feedback so far. In terms of improvements, I think there's small things which are normal fuel app things here and there, just speed settings, etc. But I believe the software team released an update this week that's fixing all of that. So that's all part of why there's an early access program and everything else. And the key is having that hardware fixed and understanding the bugs before we go full market. And I think we've never been more ready for a product than we are with the Pro. So it's really reassuring. And I'm sure you guys will see that through the reviews as well.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah. Thanks, Chris. I think it's something that we lose sight of sometimes. We forget that the scooter has been in development for 3 years, and what seems like a critical issue for us now is actually just such an incremental improvement to the product, right? Like the most recent one was like zip tying a handful of cables in one specific part of the inside of the deck. Like we're really just grasping at the straws at this point to try and make the scooter even better. And we're so many degrees removed from the actual issue that we're just being extremely proactive in addressing everything. So same question for you. Obviously you've been receiving a handful of I guess more recent samples at the office here, including the one we received this week. I think that's probably the most final Pro we've actually gotten so far in terms of coming hot off the production line. How did that experience of unboxing the scooter and the product itself differ from the previous ones?
It was the first one this week we're receiving that everything was there, from every little screw in the screw kit we're going to supply with the toolkit, from all the little notice on the scooter. Now we added a bunch of stickers and warning on the scooter because of our lawyer. So to see all those nice it just makes the scooter looks even more legit and like a real product. So it's great to see. And same thing so we opened the scooter, and the setup guide was on top. We had a big sheet now that explained how to set it up and everything. The manual was finished with the right texture on it, and it was just great to see. And everyone at the office who opened it was like, if we were a customer opening this, it would feel so luxurious and reassuring to see that amount of attention and care at the box. And all the scooters we got so far in those box, well, they are airship, which can be quite brutal sometimes. They all arrive in a pristine condition. So it's really like confirming the idea that we had, that doing a full foam inlay like we're doing is going to really offer the best protection to the scooter. So that's pretty cool. And it's nice when you like set it up, connect it to the app, and everything is working right away with the latest release that Chris mentioned. It's nice. Before, there was only the sound, like we can change the sound on the Pro. There was only the sound screen working, and then there was the light screen, and then it's the IoT. So having all those functions now working, it's great. It's just like it's like, okay, we're ready to launch it now finally. And like Chris was saying, when we get like some insight of like how it's happening with people that like review the scooter when they get it, so far it's been great, and it's been excellent. And usually, there's always 2-3 points. They're like, oh, I received it and my disc is bent or something like that. The fact that they get the scooter and they just write to you like, wow, this is amazing. It's great because reviewers, they test so many different products. They know what they're talking about, and for them to say that, it's nice,
And it's funny. I mean, back to a bit what you were saying, Match. I mean, I know L1 and the whole team have designed even unboxing experience to be like, okay, on the top of the box it says, lift the side flaps, and so when you lift it up, it's supposed to be a beautiful scooter that you see. And of course, we send it to one of our reviewers, and you see them opening it the complete wrong way, and they open it through the box on the top. There's some things that, again, it's really good feedback to go through it to understand, okay, how we put enough instructions and this and that. So anyway, for anyone who's watching here who has a Pro on order, please just read the labels and open it the proper way. It's a much better unboxing experience. But yeah, small things like that we can keep learning.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think the other thing to keep in mind is also that we still have a good 3 months worth of software updates to deliver to the Pro before the scooters are actually in market, right? So yes, the beta users obviously are getting them pretty soon, but the full deliveries will only take place in December, end of November, December, realistically. So that gives us a good amount of time to still kind of finesse and fine tune some of these last bugs that we might be discovering throughout the testing process. So cool, thanks guys. Let's turn our attention to the comments for a hot second. I see there's a lot of questions about the Phantom shipping updates. So as we've been communicating via email, there is a shipping schedule that's different for both Canada and the US. So Xavi, who's running the show behind the scenes here, he's sharing the estimated shipping timelines by order. Unfortunately, the layout is getting a little bit distorted here in the comments section. So feel free to reference your inbox. If you have not seen our email, please check your spam. We emailed everybody yesterday evening with the latest shipping estimates for your Phantom order. So in short, what that looks like for the US is shipping between July 17th and August 14th for all the outstanding orders. And for Canada, that's shipping between July 7th and July 31st for all outstanding orders. So please take a look at your emails. We understand that there's been unexpected delays. They're also unexpected for us. A portion of that delay is unfortunately coming from the fact that the vessels did arrive late. And the second portion of it is that we are performing manual verifications and checks on every single scooter that arrives. Once again, that's part of the procedure that we're now introducing, ideally at the factory. So without getting into the details of which scooters are produced at which factory, all of our new cities, all of our new Airs, all of our new Phantoms are coming with a hand inspection sheet, essentially, where you can see who inspected the scooter, when they inspected it. And it's obviously just a synthesized version of a master list of QC that I'll put together with our engineering teams. But unfortunately, we didn't have that capability at the Phantom factory, so we are doing those checks ourselves at our repair centers. That's part of the reason why the Phantoms are taking a little bit longer to ship out. So please be patient with us for a little bit longer, but they are underway and they are coming very soon. All right, a couple of other questions. Tommy, I pre-ordered the Pro last year and put down a $20 deposit. How do I pre-order it? So this Wednesday, Tommy, you can head on over to Indiegogo. Again, you should have received an email from us. If you have not, you can just check out our website. The Indiegogo link is everywhere. On July 12th at noon Eastern, the Pro is officially available for pre-order on Indiegogo. And again, the best deals are only available in the first 48 hours. So we highly encourage anybody considering pre-ordering the Pro to do so in the first 48 hours. After, the price will increase and you will miss out on that maximum amount of savings. All right, Elwha, you want to take the question from Stephen? It's the throttle one. I'm not sure if you see it.
Is there any way to fix the dead zone?
Is there any way to fix the dead zone between 2 and 5 kilometers on a Phantom? For me, it seems that below 6 kilometers, the throttle is not responsive. I wonder if you're putting the right unit of measurement here. I'm not sure what you mean by kilometer. Like if mileage-wise, after 6 kilometers, become below 6. I'm not sure I understand the question. For the best way to remove the dead zone of the throttle, honestly, it's to upgrade to the V3. The V3 has no dead zone because we can calibrate the motor to the exact throttle, controller, and display. So I would say if it's not already done, upgrade to the V3. And if you're having dead zone with the V3, you probably didn't do the motor detection. So I would suggest doing it. And if you did it and you still have it, then just reach out to CX because something is probably wrong with your throttle.
Cool, thanks a lot. Modular LSL, no more hype. I'm afraid there's a lot more hype coming your way, so hope you can take it. We're all excited for the Pro. We've been working on this thing for 3 years. There's a lot more hype coming, so prepare and brace yourselves. Austin for Elwha, has there been an improvement or reinforcement of the tires or valve stems and or durability of the rim tire assembly on the Pro versus the City Pro?
No, it's the same factory making those motors. It's the best motor factory, is the same one as Segway that we are using, but with a lot more powerful motors, obviously. And no, for the Pro, we don't see really any cracked rim. Some V3 case over, 5,000-6,000 scooters. For the valve, though, it's I did see a couple of those, maybe 10, and it's the inner core of the valve becoming loose. And then the air is leaking. So we added Loctite on this, but those even 10 out of 6,000 it's nothing. So all that said, the tire and motors on the City Pro is excellent. So having it on the Pro is it's reassuring. It's a great thing.
And the other thing about the Pro is, as well as our City 2023 and Air 2023, is that all of those scooters are moving towards semi-assemblies. I think we've talked about it at length in the previous episodes, but in short, essentially, we're moving away from having 150 individual spare parts per scooter towards having a kit of 20 kits roughly per scooter of semi-assembled spare parts. So if you see that your tire, motor, front assembly is failing, the actual process of replacing it would be buttery smooth compared to what you had to deal with before. So good news all around for customers, especially those living in more remote areas with less access to repair services. Will there be a possibility for the City 2022 to receive a folding mechanism upgrade kit as well?
Yes, it's going to come with the stem already welded, and you're just going to swap it. So it's a nice box, and it's coming with the spanner wrench as well. So it's coming with all the tools that you need to replace it, and you don't need to play with the folding. It come all assembled. So you just remove the old one, put the new one, put the headset, and voila.
Nice. Alex, nice to see you. Question: could you guys please provide some more info on the feedback process for the beta with the phone call and what is involved with those questions in the app?
Yes, so it's going to be based on component. We're going to ask you a bunch of questions. But for example, the one in the app is fairly simple. We are focusing on different area every week. So let's say the first week there's 4 surveys in total. The first week is going to be about the unboxing experience, the setup process, the things that you see from the start. And by the way, that's what it's going to look like, upgrade kit. So it not Chrome, obviously, but it comes with the stem and the folding, and you just remove it from the old one, put the new one, and it's all assembled like this. So yeah, different week, going to focus on different areas, something that makes sense. As we move towards the 4th week, well, we are getting more, we want more specific feedback, like about the suspension, about like the ride and feel of the scooter. Is there any screws becoming loose? Is it how is the waterproofness? How is the app now that you had the time to play with it? And it's very simple. It's always based on 5-star, those questions. And at the end of those 4 surveys, so 4 different times, we're gonna ask you like a written feedback as well if you want to add anything. And on top of that, there's going to be, so this is all pre-scheduled in the app. In our backend, we check a little box that says this person is part of the beta, this person, and then the trigger is going to be applied that every week it's going to ask you those questions. On top of that, you need to do 500 kilometers. So there's a progress bar in your profile screen in the app when you're a beta tester that show you the completion of those 500 kilometers. So it's pretty straightforward and encouraging to see. And lastly, the 2 in-person, I say in-person, but the call, the interview we're going to have, it's going to be a panel of roughly 10 people. And we just going to have open discussion about how it's going, everything that you cannot necessarily communicate through star rating or just writing or any other suggestion about, I would improve this or this. Then it's going to be the time to communicate those. And then we get gathered all this feedback. We meet with the team and we see what is possible to change for the real production. So that's how it's going to go.
Thanks a lot. Jerry, welcome back to your question about deliveries. We're just confirming, and we'll circle back to you. DC, e-scooters are getting legal in Quebec on July 20th. What's your take? And what do you think about the 500-watt motor limit? Good or bad thing? Yeah, so we had a discussion about it, and I'm curious what you guys think as well, Chris and Alois. My initial reaction is that the 500-watt motor limit doesn't really mean anything, because a 36 volt versus a 52 volt 500-watt motor is going to be very, very different. And frankly, if I'm a 300-pound rider and I live in a hilly area, 500-watt just doesn't cut it. And vice versa, if I'm a child riding a 500-watt motor scooter, it's already too fast. So it's sort of a very subjective restriction that could be stretched in either direction. And I think perhaps a better way of restricting scooters would be looking at top speeds more than the actual power that they have. But curious to hear your thoughts.
Yeah, on my side, I think they're following the trend of what Europe's done in many ways, with like even Spain and everything, and they're just taking what seems to have worked. There's always an argument, back to what you were saying, Matt, on like top speed as well. It's like, well, on a highway, like a Toyota Corolla can go over 110 kilometers an hour as well. It depends on, is it the machine top speed that really counts, or is it the top speed you're riding at the end of the day? And there was a really interesting conversation on this at the Micromobility conference. But essentially, it's got to come to a point in which it's going to have to be the speed you ride on. I think that's going to be the most logical. And again, if you're riding in the bike lane, you need to be at 32 kilometers an hour max. If you're riding on a road with a 50 kilometer limit, then that could be 45, 50 type of thing. I think the 500 watt motor limit is it's useless really. Like they're never really going to look at your motor, understand what the motor wattage is, unless they're super strict, like in Denmark and whatever, where they have machines that they stop on the side of the road and they actually test out the thing. But all these scooter companies as well are finding ways to sort of limit that. And like you can quickly click a button and go into mode 1, which limits your output to 500 watts, right? So anyway, I think it's a fantastic thing for Quebec. I think it's really good. We're going to see a lot more scooters. They're going to start putting regulation in, and scooters are going to become much more popular. The 500 watt thing, I think, is just one of those things that just trying to put a bit more framework. But I think it's going to come down to, if you ride well and you're not stupid, you won't get a ticket. If you go for a red light, ride on a sidewalk, and ride at crazy speeds, you'll get a ticket. Full stop. So
maybe it's more of a limitation for importers or any distributors, the level at which they advertise is, is more than 500 or less. But what do you think?
I think it's a great thing overall. Again, finally stop being scared every time I see police and I'm riding my scooter. So that's nice. 500 watt doesn't mean anything. And I think overall, it's excellent news. I'm really happy to see this. And
about time.
At least, it's about time, right?
So, I think regulations like UL coming into force makes a lot more sense rather than like motor wattage, right? UL is actually a safety thing in your house and you're saying battery fires, etc. Okay. Motor wattage, it's like, okay, I don't know. Anyway, let's see.
Yeah, so good news. We're happy to be amongst the other Canadian cities which have legalized scooters before. And shame that it's going to happen towards the end of summer, but we'll take it, of course. Okay, Jerry, just confirming that if you are based out of Houston, your Pro will come directly to your house. So rest assured, once it gets fulfilled, you'll receive the tracking information and you'll be able to follow the shipping of the Pro all along the way. Okay, will there be a refresh for the Phantom with the components of the Apollo Pro in the future? I think Alwas answered that question multiple times before. So the Phantom is in its final form. There will be no further upgrades or improvements to the Phantom. So this is it. We've just basically reached the point where it's a beautiful, stable, reliable scooter. Like it's already been 3 years worth of iteration. So we're done making changes for the time being. So all you got to do now is buy it and enjoy it. Very useful accessory for my Beta Pro would be a specifically designed storage bag, not something generic and awkwardly attached. What do you think?
Every week we're getting a great suggestion for accessories. If I had to design one, it would be with pre-drilled, I think, hole and thread on the stem that you can put it from inside the bag instead of having loose strap. But for now, to be honest, no, it's not in the. It's not something we plan for. So maybe we can look at already existing bag if there is better one. And if you think, if you saw one online that you think would work better than ours, please send it over.
All right. Nice work on the City Pro 2023. Can't wait. Craig, it's a fantastic scooter. We've been testing the one that we have in the office for the last little while. It's just fantastic. So it's I think you have something really, really special to look forward to. Will price and discount offered on Indiegogo be same for Pro Beta testers, users, or will it be cheaper? And would Apollo honor the same discount offer? So Sahil, I think you're asking if the price of the Pro on Indiegogo, will that be the same as the Beta tester price? If that's your question, then the answer is absolutely not. The Pro Beta testers received the Pro at cost. Apollo makes no margin on those units because we are interested in getting feedback and testing them. And the Indiegogo page launch is a pre-order launch. So it's very much part of our go-to-market strategy where we do earn a margin on those units. There will be one-time launch discounts available that will not be available once the scooter is in market and cruising and well stocked. So you can still get a really, really substantial offer. And if you're curious about what those are, feel free to head on over to Indiegogo, sign up to our emails, and we'll be unveiling all the pricing there. But it will not be the same discount as the Beta units. ETA for Beta units in Montreal, we said about 2 weeks from now, and there should be an update coming relatively soon. It's just a question of how quickly those units can get through the port of Vancouver, which is currently on strike. On your website, the Apollo Air 2022 says it is IP66 rated, but when I got my scooter, it says IP55 on the bottom of the scooter. Oh, wow. I think we've clarified this a few times before, right?
Yeah, there was not enough ink in the printer to complete the 6. So I messed up. I put the wrong sticker on the scooter. It is 66.
Yeah, maybe your punishment should be unboxing all the scooters and just sharpieing the 6 over the 5. Okay, so let me clarify. I purchased the V3 model from Apollo. When my speed is below 6 kilometers, the throttle doesn't respond. I have to kickstart to get it to operate again. I think that's in response to your answer, Elwa.
Yeah. I mean, that's exactly it, Steven. You just need to remove the kickstart option. There need to be a minimal speed for the kickstart to be disengaged, and then you can go. So just remove the kickstart, and as soon as you're gonna press, it's gonna go.
Okay, guys, we're 30 minutes already, so we're just gonna power through the next few questions and then reveal the winner for the week. So Dave Black, Elwa, suggestions for the Phantom V3 overheating?
Yes, the heatsink need to go. So I'm gonna install a thermal heat pad with a smaller heatsink. Sure, just the heat pad is gonna work. You put it. Just make sure you put it on the side with the fins, not the side that is flat. That side is empty. It's where the fins is that all the muffsets are. So yeah, you need to cover this beautiful pattern, unfortunately. But yeah, and make sure you put the thin heat pad. You don't want the 1 centimeter one, a couple millimeter, and that's gonna work.
Thank you, Mike. So because you're based out of LA, your scooter will not be delivered to your door. It will be delivered to our repair center from which you will be picking it up from. So no worries if you're out of town for a week. We can hold it for you for about a week. Just message our customer experience team and they'll help you make the necessary arrangements. And we'll have it waiting for you when you get back. Okay, Aaron. Thanks, Aaron. Hey guys, my Apollo Ghost makes a cranking noise over bumps when I ride. Is there a way to get rid of it? Thanks.
I would say it's probably the suspension. So just try to add lithium grease on the pivot point of the swing arm and on the spring, and that should fix it.
Beautiful. Ernest, for beta testers, when will the 500 kilometers in 45 days start counting? I'm guessing it would start once you start riding the scooter. I'm not sure if this question was asked in live feed.
It's going to start as soon as we give you the scooter, because we don't want to give the scooter and you start 2 weeks later. Like, this is like the time in this whole process is very important for us. So as soon as you pick up your scooter, that's when it's starting.
Gabe, I was thinking to pre-order the Pro 2, but with the Phantom delays, I'm worried. I heard it was because you weren't expecting so many orders. Is there a plan to be ready for the influx of orders? Yeah, so the Phantom is unrelated to our forecast or volume. It's a port congestion issue as well as a manual check issue. So completely independent of the Pro. And the Pro, we're committing to a guaranteed delivery by December. So you can see that the units are already in production. They have been produced. They're being delivered as we speak for the beta users. And so there's we don't foresee any risk to the delivery in likely late November, early December of the Pro. In August, it will be 100 degrees with around 67% humidity. Do I need to be concerned about cooling issues with the beta?
Absolutely. Next question. No, well, yes, you should. I think even like, I had the Toyota Yaris and it was overheating in summer here. So you should monitor it. The good thing with the app, again, is that it's going to tell you when you're getting close to this. And there's also thermal protection built in. So you shouldn't be concerned about the fact that it's going to break the scooter. It's going to be limited before that. So again, that's one of the reasons the whole beta tester, that's why we are doing such high volume of beta testers. We want to test it in all conditions, including extreme heat, like in LA, and like cold temperature, like here as well. Yeah, you shouldn't be concerned the fact that it's going to break it, but we definitely are interested in gathering this data. Right now, there is there's maybe 25 pros registered. There's 34 pro in our backend, and the average temperature for all of them is 56 degrees, and we are in July. So overall, it seems to be going extremely well, and there's only one case of overheating in one ride that we saw. So far, I would say it's going pretty well, and it's running colder than the Apollo City Pro for comparison. So.
Yeah, and even just to add context, when it did overheat when we were testing it in China, it was just like a temporary 3-minute reduction in speed. That's all it was, So like you just need to stop ripping it for 3 minutes, and then you're back to writing it as per usual. Okay, so just want to say thank you to your team for replacing my display. Amazing. Glad you had a good experience. Dave, will the pros have VIN numbers? They will not have VIN numbers. They will have just serial numbers. But you're saying here that with a seed, they could be registered as a DMV electric moped. That's good to know. We'll look into that. But at this time, they are not coming with a VIN number. City Pro 2022 upgrade kit shipping ETA. We said 2 to 4 weeks deliveries. So stay tuned, Oliver. Will you need to charge the Pro for how many hours before using? I think they come with what, 50 to 70% battery already, or what?
Yeah, roughly 60%. It's a 30 amp battery, so they come with like 18 amp hour of charge, and it's a 4 amp charger, so you need to let it charge for another probably 3 hours.
There you go, Ernest. And then Dave, will the Phantom ever get the Mach 2 controller? Not at this time, where we have just released the Mach 1, and it's more than enough for the time being in terms of performance. So we don't have any plans to put the Mach 2 as well. Okay, thank you, everyone. Amazing engagement. I think we peaked at like 40-something viewers today, which is probably our highest viewership to date. So thank you, and keep coming out every Friday. So just before we drop off, we have one announcement left, which is the winner. Chris, would you do us the honors of letting us know who won the Air 2021 this week?
Yep, this week. So the winner of the Freedom Challenge, and if you guys are not familiar with the Freedom Challenge, you can see on our website, essentially, if you post any content, you can participate to win a free Apollo 2021. And this week's winner is Shona Ibab. Shona Ibab. So congratulations, Shona. Our team will reach out to you to get your scoot. And thanks for participating in the competition.
Thank you very much. And one last note, housekeeping item, if you will. Next week, we are not doing the show on Friday. We are doing the show on Wednesday. So we will actually be live as the Pro goes live and opens up for pre-orders on Indiegogo. So we'll be available to answer any questions and answer any concerns, hopefully not. And I think most importantly, celebrate a little bit. It's been 3 years in the making, so we're really looking forward to next Wednesday. So don't forget to tune in then instead of Friday. And thank you for coming out today. Thanks, everyone.
Thanks, everyone. Have a lovely weekend.